Hi, I'm Carole Robinson. Welcome to this edition of County Happenings, where we find out what's happening in the county by talking with the the county mayor.
How are you
How you
today?
doing, Rogers Anderson? How you
Pleasure
doing?
to be here. It's
Yeah,
it's one of those days already.
yeah,
As
yeah.
we try to balance the many things that are going on and
And
uh,
try to get over all the work at the fair.
the
We're all
fair.
still blurry-eyed from the fair.
Well, I don't know that our feet are back up underneath
know.
us yet. I've often heard that ducks have pretty flat feet,
And they quack.
they quack, and they can get around. But human beings takes a little bit longer. The fair was a very successful fair. This was our 10th year,
A great 10th year.
and wonderful attendance. Over the years, and of course I know you're out there almost as much as we are, but what makes the fair successful once you get past the weather. Now, and we had wonderful weather except for just a couple of nights. The Thursday night was a complete washout, rain.
But it didn't happen until late.
Now, but it hurts attendance.
Yeah.
People are trying to determine where to come or not come. And when it starts getting overcast and rainy about 6, that influences their decision. But as we came to find out, it did not rain.
Right.
It was just all the way around us: Franklin, Thompson Station, Spring Hill, Murfreesboro. But the fairgrounds themselves it was a pleasant night to be out there. We don't have our final numbers now yet. We have to wait on things like Groupon, which is how you can buy fair tickets online, and that's the new generation's
Yeah.
way of doing it. We know we had approximately 15,000 people to buy tickets. Now, that 15,000 is not just one person. They may buy them for their boyfriend, girlfriend, spouse, and or children. So we don't know the total impact of all those dollars and cents until they call that being redeemed. You hit the button on your cell phone, and then after that's done, back to wherever it's done at, then we get a head count and we get a dollar count based on how many people came in, because they buy them. You can buy a single or a single with one, and single 2, 3, 4, and 5, and depending on how many people buy those and redeem those. But overall, we know that it was a very successful fair from a standpoint of in dollars and cents. We've had probably the best financial fair that we've had. Now, again, I'm tongue-in-cheek when I say that because we haven't paid all of our expenses yet.
Right.
But if you just looked at gross revenue, no expenses taken out of number one. Now we got to see how our expenses, and we control a lot of that to the best of our ability. There are some things we had to do at the last week or 2 weeks that, okay, we got to fix this or do that. But from a safety standpoint, we had our typical heat strokes,
Yeah.
exhaustion,
Yeah, and
stumped
we
toes.
had some really nice days where it was cool, but then there was a couple of days there that got pretty brutal.
And I want to say again, I repeat it every time I possibly can, this fair is a success because of 2 main factors. One, the volunteers. There's some 1,500 volunteers that put in some amount of time, some more than others. Never have enough people.
Yeah.
If you're watching this show, the 2015 fair will be here before you know it. First Friday night in August. I think that's the 7th this next year.
So
a
it'll
little
be
bit
just
later.
a tad later.
And then the sponsors to help hold down the prices and the cost. This year we did many things. We changed a lot. We brought in some more programs, but we already know that we paid out over $60,000 in premium checks to people with their livestock and their green beans and their quilts and
The pageants.
The pageants. $60,000 was issued, and we encourage people. That's what it's for. So when you're submitting your entries, and some entries have a dollar value on them, some of them don't, but it's a way to give back to our community. We also know that Centennial Band Boosters, Centennial High School Band Boosters, and the children, they've done our parking for the entire 10 years
10
of the fair.
years,
Do an
yeah.
outstanding job, and we cut them a check at the end of the fair. Then Ravenwood is out there, and several other schools or organizations are out there. I guess the biggest recipient is you've had the opportunity to report in the newspaper when we had a discussion earlier this week. 6,100 pounds of food was turned in.
And Graceworks.
For Graceworks.
That was amazing.
That's 3 tons.
Yeah, and tell the story, I'm not sure I was able to hit it as well on the paper, how people came before and afterwards.
We've designated for the last 2 years, it was something that we started last year. We said, let's give back to our community. I mean, we already do scholarships, we've done...
You've done repair work or added things
probably
at the
close
Ag Center.
to $250,000 worth of repair, more electrical, which saves the taxpayers. Because you've got to remember, the fair is a not-for-profit organization.
Right. And the county does not pay for anything for the fair.
No, we lease that. The fair leases that from the county. But at the end of the day, on the food drive for Graceworks, we said, well, let's try those. So we forgave you buying a ticket that night. 2 cans. Now, if it's asparagus, it took 4. But
and not 4 of asparagus.
No,
It had to be 3 others.
That's right. I don't eat asparagus, and I just decided that we were... Anyway, moving on. So Monday night we've designated, because that's kind of a night that's a little bit slow, we thought.
Yeah.
And we had people coming in on Sunday night, which is all-day senior day. All seniors get in free on that day to walk around. If they want to ride, we'll give them tickets. We have lunch provided by Humana. Tom Lawrence handles that. We do bingo. But that day on Sunday is senior day, and it's packed full of 55 and older individuals. That night, on Sunday night, I was out doing some things, and there's always something that you have to address during a fair. And people were bringing in canned goods on Sunday night, and we said, well, that's not till Monday night. So, we know that. We just want to help.
Isn't it?
And then on Monday, we collected, I think it was 57 or 5,750 pounds worth of food. And then on Tuesday and Wednesday, people still brought it in. And that's how we got up over the 6,100 figure. And I just can't thank Williamson Countyans and the community for helping out a very worthwhile organization to feed the many people that we need in our county.
Yeah, the Graceworks is an amazing, they do an amazing job on with very little budget. Helping people that need help, need temporary help, and help them get to a point where they don't need temporary help anymore.
We also had an event this year. Again, it was on Monday night, where we had the 4-H cattle sale and the sheep and the goat sale. Traditionally, it started in the early '80s, and you and I, as a young 4-Her or
took the chickens,
took the chickens, or took the goats or steer, whatever it happened to be. And you fatten him up, and you were getting him ready to be in your freezer, be put in your freezer. And for the last 10 or 15 years, that's been kind of an individual sale, and they would get businesses and parents to help bid on. But it was losing its luster. It was losing its
yeah, because Williamson County is becoming less and less of an agricultural county, and so it was losing its following.
So Dwayne Perry, the extension agent, University of Tennessee, and we call them ag agent, but they're no longer referred to as the ag. We said, well, let's try it at the fair. So that particular night, well, we had it in the outdoor arena. First of all, that was new. It had been done for the last 15 years inside, and it didn't have the same flavor. It just didn't have it. And when I would go out there and those sales, there was 100 people, but
it's the same 100 people all the time.
And more people have said, well, we need to change it. We moved it outside. You had all the fair noise going on. You had all the fair activities. You had people almost like a Rockwell painting, leaning over the fence and seeing these 75, 80-pound little girls, and guys too. Guys weren't that little, but jerking around on 1,000, 1,100, 1,200 pound steer, and you know people don't realize that you don't just put a halter on a cow, on a steer particularly, and bring him in an arena with other four-legged creatures, other people, and all this crowd and noise. That takes practice that whole year learning to do that. Now these steers, these goats, and it's the first time that we had sold goats, and goats, I think we had like 40 of them.
Yeah, that's what he said, something like that, yeah.
And then we had the lambs, but...
and they all were, well, the steers were 18 months old. I think all of them were.
Most of them are.
All the lambs
they're ready to go in your freezer. And these steers had already, most of the beef show had already been to the state. And so they'd already been graded. They'd MRI'd them. Every steer that went through there had an MRI done on it. And they look at fat content. I know in the world we live on today, having a lot of fat is not a good thing. Is evidence of it. But
we keep being told this.
But in the beef world, that helps to marmalize the meat, and
keeps it tender,
and it grades out the different things you want to. Well, the MRI is also picking up any diseases, cancer, any kind of disease that's in that animal. It's picked up and it's noted or pulled that animal's pulled. So you're getting quality meat. Every year I try to bid on. Sometimes I'm not successful. But Dwayne was telling me recently, for an example, in the early 80s, beef was going on the, we call it on the hoof, on the foot. Beef was going for 40 cents, and then a few years later it got up to 80 cents on the hoof. These steers that we just had at the Williamson County Fair, the 10th one, here in 2014, the top steer brought in $4.
Wow.
On the foot.
Wow.
On the hoof. So
now he said that beef prices are up, so
beef prices are up, and you got to realize that there was over I think it was $125,000 or $135,000 that went back in to the 4-H program and these children specifically that helps them go off to school. Oftentimes a beef is sold twice. That if you're a corporation, you may buy it for bragging rights, say I'm helping 4-H, and then you can return it for another sale. And you're driving up that you're driving up the dollars that the children and the 4-H can get. Some, like this year, I was able to purchase a half with another guy, and you know he'll be hanging in my freezer in a few more days. I've just got to keep my 30-year-old children out of the freezer. Now,
you think you're going to get much of that?
Well, I got to tell you a quick story. It has nothing to do about anything, but you'll love it. And parents out there will have an appreciation. You having children. 15 years ago, when I used to put up a beef in the freezer for the 3 children.
And 2 of them were boys.
2 of them were boys, and my daughter didn't eat much. And when the boys went away to school, I seemed to have lost steaks. They would take those steaks back to their campus and cook them for their, and oftentimes.
Because they wouldn't take the burger, they take the steaks.
Yeah, they take a few burgers, but most of the T-bones and ribeyes and the roast they could do because they were, they were having to watch their money because Daddy was paying for school, but they had to work. And make a long story short, that about the second year of that, I'd wake up in the fall and think, well, I'll go fix me a good steak on the grill. And there wouldn't be anything in there. So it dawned on me what I needed to do. So what few steaks I had left over to make me through the winter. Now we had roast, but they take the roast too. 18, 20-year-old boy, he'll eat anything that's not tied down. I started writing on, got some white paper, which is how they wrap them in freezer paper, and I wrote liver.
Had a lot of liver in your.
I had lots of liver, and the boys never took any more. And they would, Dad, did we just run out of steaks or something? We seem to have a lot of liver. I don't know. You might dig around and find some in there. So the following year, when I had half a beef put in, I remember telling the guy, label that liver 1 and liver 2, and he kind of chuckled, and I told him the story, and he said, that ought to stop them. So they got a few steaks, but they didn't get, and I didn't tell them that story for several years.
Good for you.
But,
and they didn't catch on that
well, Dad outsmarted them one
cow
more
doesn't
time.
have that much liver.
No, probably. But it was a good fair.
Yeah.
We want to thank all of our sponsors and our vendors and the people that participated in it, and to all of those people that came to our fair. 225 to 250,000 people. Don't know the number yet. We know it was a successful fair.
And a lot were repeat.
Yes.
A lot of people came.
Next year's fair will be, I think, personally even better. We've already got I think they're called sea lions or sea something. Those animals that got whiskers that swim around in the water.
Seals or the walruses?
Yes. Yeah, one of those.
The walruses are big. You want the seals.
Well, we've got them, and they're coming in a huge, big old tank.
Wow.
And it's taken us 6 years to get these creatures. And Diane's worked very hard on that. Of course, Diane loves that side of the fair. She didn't care much about the business side. That's mine. But it's going to be built around. We've got a horse show coming in.
That'll be
able
nice.
to arena. So it's something different, and we're already planning for next year. And hopefully we'll have good weather, and the bridges will be finished, and the traffic will be reduced, and we'll be able to have a successful fair again.
Yeah, one of the problems I see that you're having to address at the fair is there's no room to grow. You're kind of, with all the new homes going in up, and you're just kind of getting boxed in. Once some of these subdivisions do go up, what do you? I mean, are we thinking parking garages or something?
No, I doubt I could sell that, but. You know, the fair is just for 9 days. Actually, it's probably 2.5 weeks from the time you set up to break down. But there are many, many other events. We have to remember out at the Ag Center that Kenny Wallace oversees.
And some of them are pretty big events.
And they're huge events. The dog shows have gotten to be as long as the fair. Horse shows, wrestling tournaments, graduation. Almost, I think the number's 45, 46 weekends a year. The Ag Center is used. Coin shows, you name it.
Yeah.
And that is something we've got to address. It has paid this county well from a tourism dollar and cent standpoint. It's been very good from an economic impact. Those people come, they leave, they spend their dollars, they eat in our restaurants, they stay in our hotels and motels, and they're in and they're out. But over the long haul, it's 100 acres out there, and most of it's rocky, and you just really can't do. The facility can seat 4,500 to 5,000 people. The rodeo has been a success through the Rotary Club, the Noon Rotary Club. Many, many events are held out there to help different events. But you're exactly right. As our community grows, where do we put all this parking?
Right.
And you know, several of us are putting our minds together, trying to figure out: do we try to buy some more land and then satellite people in? Do you put a gondola lift? Do you go get people? There's just so many factors that have gone in, and we've never said, and you've been in a lot of those meetings, we never wanted to be the state fair. We're not wanting to compete with Wilson. We just want to do what we do and do it the best we can and keep it safe and clean, alcohol free. And we believe, and the community has supported that concept, that it's a family friendly event. Nothing against alcohol, but it just does not need to be on our fairgrounds, not with all these small children. And make it educational, with a strong emphasis on agriculture, and people will come.
Well, proof is Little Ones Farming had the biggest largest number of kids going through that they've ever had in 10 years, and I think there were a lot of little areas like that broke records.
Yes, we need more space or more buildings to hold. I mean, our beauty pageant is just packed. I'm not sure what it's called anymore because we change the name every year, but where you have a sing-along.
Sing Your Heart Out?
Sing Your Heart Out with, you know, the Wares. They handle that. Suzanne Ware and Taylor came back in.
Yeah.
She was off.
She was back and forth from college every night.
It's just, I mean, you start early. You start as soon as fair gates open at 6, and you couldn't even get them out this year until after 10. So,
and she'd cut back a lot too.
And
but
she had cut back.
Yeah.
But you know, and then our horticultural side, our exhibits of the paintings, the artwork.
Oh my gosh, the quality
the
is
quality
unbelievable.
in this community is unbelievable, and of course, I call it Touch-a-Truck, but that's not what it's referred to.
Oh my Lord, the kids had so much fun there.
And we need to thank all those
Yeah.
corporations, Eddie
Yeah, I
Hood
just want to
from the
know how many
highway.
little switches and stuff were busted on all those things.
We had just received a new fire truck, $600,000 fire truck for the rescue squad, and hadn't even put it in service. We said, well, let's put it out at the fair. They about wore the horn off.
Yeah, the horn and one of the blinkers.
And every now and then, Newt and his crew,
Yeah.
of course, they do a wonderful job taping all this, and as the weeks and months go by, they'll infiltrate the Channel 3 and the other channels that we're affiliated with. But every now and then, you'd hear somebody accidentally hit that horn, and big old air horn, and you just see them jump right out of their skin. And
That was
great talent this
yeah.
year. We had lots
Oh
of
my
music
gosh,
around. You know, Elvis is still popular.
Oh my Lord, did he pack it in?
And
the gospel night was
gospel night
incredibly
was
popular.
incredible.
Will Hogue did a really good job, a local boy. Yeah.
Great
It was
time.
Great time. Even on the bluegrass stage, a lot of good talent
A lot
out
of good
there.
talent everywhere about.
Yeah.
And the guy that was making the figurines out of the wood,
Yeah,
he
the
was a late
carver.
entry. We had one, the first time this ever happened to us. Somebody didn't show up, said they were going to be there. And so we had to hustle. Fair opened up on Friday. We gave him till Saturday morning to be there. He didn't show up. We got somebody else to come in on Sunday. Nobody missed a beat. And he made carvings with a chainsaw, with chainsaws.
Chainsaw, yeah.
And they were just amazing. And he was down in Lincoln County. We had seen him before and we really wanted him, but we just couldn't find a spot to put him. He jumped right on. Got him and his wife came up, set up with their exhibit, and made some beautiful
Oh my gosh, he was
wood carvings.
yeah,
So-
great things.
And we'll sell those. We'll auction those off, make a little extra money for the fair and the ag center, and so
Yeah.
it's on and about the way we go.
And one of the guys that was with the BMX bikers is from Franklin,
Yes.
which was pretty amazing to learn there.
Well, that doesn't surprise me. It seems like everybody lives in Franklin.
Yeah,
Williamson County now.
yeah.
School's starting
Anyway,
too, Carol.
Yeah, and on top of everything, Friday, second Friday of the fair, school started. So how we doing there?
Well, from the early numbers, they don't really, Dr. Looney and the bean counters really start taking head count until after Labor Day. In most states, and even in some of our own counties in the state of Tennessee, school really doesn't really engage until after Labor Day. Now, that's not true for Davidson County, Murray County, Williamson County, Rutherford
Middleton,
County. For
yeah.
some reason, we started August 8th this year.
Yeah, that's getting. It
So-
seems like it's earlier and earlier every year.
So at the end of the day, we don't really have a head count, but I've already been told they've got 1,000 children in, more than
More
they
than
had,
last year.
and so we were planning 1,150 approximately. So again, there's more and more people continue to move here, and as they graduate, more backfilling
Yeah.
is occurring, and our schools have, for the most part, have gone on without any hitches this year. The buses are running, and traffic congestion is at each school, so it's working just fine.
Everybody's had to readjust their summer schedule again.
Well, and you know, this is such a wonderful place to live and work and raise your family and worship and what you call home. I'm a transplant. I moved here in the 80s, but I tell people this is probably where I'm going to be buried because my children and my grandchildren are here now.
Yeah.
And I think that's true about the fastest growing segment of age-wise in Williamson County is the seniors, the baby boomers. So from 60 and up, that's the fastest growing, but the largest segment of people is 0 to 19, 0 to 20.
Right. People with kids.
So we're going to see that continue. Go back into the fair. If you see all those strollers, you see all those
Yeah.
mamas out there with their
They're
children.
gonna be in
today,
school soon.
They're going to be in school, and so I can tell you there's still plenty of kids
Yeah.
coming along. And our Parks and Rec, we continue to flourish in that. I know
And
we're running
Nolensville's
out of
fixing to open.
1st of October-ish. As we reported, I think it was the last show we had, that our Nolensville Rec Center, in partnership with Nolensville City Hall, we're opening up a new center, opening up a repurposed school building to be a new rec center. And we ran into rock in Nolensville. but we didn't
Surprise.
but we didn't run into rock where we needed, so we had to bring 150 loads of gravel and rock in this particular area we needed. We didn't have enough rock.
It's hard to believe.
It is hard to believe. And then the timberline out on Natchez Trace, that'll open up the end of September, 1st October.
Great place to go hiking and spend
75 acres.
75 acres of
And
land.
I really encourage people to go out there in the fall this year and bring your family, bring your young ones. Remember, it's natural.
Yeah.
There's bugs, there's mosquitoes, but the trails have been laid out by Doug Hood and Parks and Recreation. We've got a pavilion out there. You can see the fall colors in their
glory in October.
Their glory and beauty, because there's oak trees, maple trees. I even saw, I think I saw a few, and I'm trying to think of the name of it is, but Daddy always carried a little nut around, and he was
Not the hickory.
the hickory was, oh yeah, there's plenty, but this one's chestnut.
Chestnuts.
The chestnut. I think I saw a chestnut out there last spring. It's been so long since I've seen a chestnut.
Yeah, they got disease there
They got
for a while.
disease, the elms and all of them. But I encourage you.
Yeah.
You'll see the signs popping up and hear about it as we go on.
It's a great place to go, and perfect time in the fall to go and
Got
go
new
there.
county commissioners, school board members coming on. We will have 7 or 8 new county commissioners. I'm drawing a blank if it was 8 or 7. We had 4 or 5 to retire. We're going to miss them.
Yeah.
Judy Hayeses, Doug Langstroms of the world, and so many. John Hancock, been around forever, really set the tempo and the pace some of these people have. But we've got a whole new group. We got 24 total, and so if we have 8, that's the 3rd new one.
Yeah.
I was at a meeting the other day, just this week, and there's 550 new county commissioners across the state of Tennessee, almost a 1/3 new ones, and that's kind of typical. About 25–30% new mayors across the county. So, I mean, it's just the signs of the times, election, and certainly got a school board changeover, 100%. Got 6 new
members
out of all 6.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting times here in Williamson County, and new directions. And
Well, you know, people, those county commissioners that have been there for so long, they got this county to a point now. Now it's
the next people.
Next people will maintain and even continue moving it ahead.
I'm excited. I think the best of Williamson County is yet to come. We just got to deal with some things, traffic being one of them, and being sure we have a strategic plan laid out for the cities and counties, and we're all on the same page. We're going to differ, but at the end of the day, we got to do it for the right reasons to make this a good community.
And for the right reasons, we've got to hustle out of here before they cut us off. Have a great time rest of the week, and see you next month around the same time, same station.
What should I make my password? Oh, I know. I'll make my password password. Passwords should be unique, private, non-personal, and secure. Use more than one word, use different character classes, use symbols and numbers, and use multiple passwords for different sites. And always remember never to share your passwords.